Welcome to Using Your Teacher Voice, episode 12. Today, um, so for Black Friday, I got a Fitbit. It was a Black Friday special on Amazon. It was about half price. I got it kind of on a whim, a little bit maybe. Once I got it, though, I really kind of enjoyed it. If you're not familiar with the Fitbit, it tracks your movement, your steps. It counts your steps. It monitors when you're sleeping. How well you sleep. Those kinds of things. It tracks your calories, your distance, a lot of different things to give you kind of a picture of how active you are. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. But it's kind of interesting. It got me thinking a little bit about wearable devices, and in particular, what wearable devices could we have that would be useful in education? This is kind of a different thought a little bit. It's not like what's a technology that I can use to access other things, but is there a wearable like the Fitbit that tracked you that could give you some feedback on what you're doing and how you're doing it? So today I want to just pitch a few ideas. Let's start by assuming that the technology is available, that we can make this, understanding that these things probably aren't here. But if we could create any device, wearable device, to track progress or monitor students, what would those things be? So I was talking about this to a friend of mine. Before I give you mine, I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and he was like, "Oh yeah, why don't we do one that we can monitor failures and successes?" He's a big motivational poster guy. He's got all those posters hanging around, including the one that says, "If you're not failing, you're not trying." And I get that, and that makes sense to me. And he's like, "Yeah, we could count like the number of failures and the number of successes." Yeah, and I get where he's going. I get what he's trying to say and stuff. To me, I was a little scared that maybe it was a little discouraging. Like, "Hey, congratulations! Today you failed 18 times. You succeeded twice. Yay!" But his idea was good. Is there a way that students could somehow kind of track their progress or track their day-to-day, situations? My first wearable device idea is a total rip off the Fitbit. Really, is a total rip of it. But what about a wearable device that tracked the number of words you read? So your Fitbit starts off with a daily goal: walk 10,000 steps. And so what if we had a device that set a goal for you? We'd like you to read 6,000 words today. And then it tracked the number of words you read. Simple things as, road signs, stop signs, labels on whatever, all the way up to books, magazines, newspaper articles, websites, things like that. And then kind of, through the day, you got these little things like, "Congratulations, you're only 1,000 words away from your goal," or "Today you've read 9,000 words, you're 3,000 over your goal." I think it would be interesting. I guess, we could even have like the deluxe model that would, after you're done, give you like your Lexile score. Today you're reading at an 1123, and your average read time was, your average words per minute were, the longest words were, the average words length were. I could see a lot of things like that are, you could build off of that. Another device that I was kind of thinking about was a device that monitored brain activity. How about, and I think that we've probably, got to the point in brain research where we know what parts of the brains represent what activity, right? So if this part of the brain is active, it means this is going on. If this part of the brain is moving, this is going on. What about if we monitored learning? So you had some sort of wearable device, and then at the end of the day, it said, "Congratulations, you were engaged in learning activities, 8.5 hours today. 5.5 hours you were engaged in learning activities." Now, of course, some teachers would be like, "Oh, that'd be great." And, when a kid's sleeping in a class, I can just go, "Look, see, you haven't been learning anything in the past 20 minutes. Yeah, I can see that. But what about being able to take, like your Fitbit, tells you at the end, in the morning, it says you slept for so much time, you were awake for so much, you were restless so much, and it shows you the times. So this would show you that, like, for instance, between 4:30 and 5:15, you were engaged in learning activity. So then you can go back and say, okay, what was I doing at that time? What was going on that would was a learning experience for me? We could really talk about what is it that was what are students interested in learning, what helps you learn, and even more than that is just to kind of promote that idea of, I know it sounds a little cliche, but that idea of a lifelong learner. And we could go and look, say, hey, not all learning happens in schools. Look, you were doing this and you were learning. So there's an idea. My third idea was a collaboration monitor. Kind of like, so you got close to people. And it probably would like build off other things, like your brain activity monitor, other activities, and a collaboration monitor, so that you could show at the end of the day how often you worked with somebody, how much did you work with somebody, how beneficial was that working with somebody. So I can see a lot of options with something like that. When I think about these things, first off, I think that yes, these devices do not exist as I know them. I don't know of any of them. They don't exist. I think one of the interesting things, though, in this is that some of these devices have a platform already. For instance, if we wanted to do like a reading monitor, we already have Google Glass. Is there a way to take that to the next level and do something new with it? Or like a collaboration monitor. We have like the gigapads and near field technologies and stuff. So really, for me, it's not so much like let's create a technology to do a task, but it's more of, hey, we have these technologies. What could we do with them to improve education? And then when I look at it, I kind of wonder, like, for me, for instance, with the Fitbit, it's kind of a challenge. It's kind of a challenge that, you have this like monitor in front of you, this progress tracker in front of you, and you can kind of tell on a real-time basis, where you're at, how far along you are and where you're going, and how much more you have to go. And really that idea of monitoring and progress and tracking, we've talked about that before in education, with grades and stuff, and helping students understand where they are and where they want to go. I really think that, putting that in front of students really increases the level of engagement, kind of shows them the path that they were on and the path that they're going on. So I do believe that, some of these things are a possibility, and I think that they probably have a lot of legitimate use. Hey, I'd love to hear what kind of ideas you have. If you have an idea of a wearable device or any kind of technology that would benefit the process of education, that'd be great. Have a great holiday.